It is January 4th, 2026, and if you have been offline for the holidays, you have missed perhaps the most chaotic, pivotal 2 weeks in the history of technology. We're not just talking about a new chatbot release, okay? We're talking about the fundamental restructuring of the global economy, the near collapse of legacy luxury brands, and a shadow war over the physical chips that run our world. We have OpenAI declaring a code red because their lead just evaporated. We have Nvidia spending $20 billion to close a loophole because Google stopped using their chips. And we have Porsche, one of the most reputable car companies on earth, losing 99% of its operating profit. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you should be. Let's break down exactly what just happened. Let's start with the AI elephant in the room. Just a few weeks ago, it looked like OpenAI was on the ropes. Google had released Gemini 3, and Sam Altman reportedly declared a code red threat level midnight because Google's dominance was suddenly undeniable. But then, OpenAI dropped GPT 5.2, and the numbers are frankly ridiculous. We aren't just talking about better writing. We're talking about 390x efficiency improvement in reasoning benchmarks compared to the O3 model. It is dominating the ArcAGI benchmark, which tests for pure reasoning rather than just memorization. However, the real story isn't OpenAI, it's the underdog that nobody saw coming, DeepSeek. DeepSeek released version 3.2, and they didn't just beat OpenAI's flagship models, they did it while being 10 times cheaper. They released a special version of the model specifically for extended reasoning that outperforms GPT-5 High and is comparable to Gemini 3 Pro. The most insane part, this model is effectively open source. It is a Git command away. You can download a model that rivals the best proprietary tech in the world for free. They achieved this using a new attention mechanism called DeepSeek Attention, which drastically lowers compute costs by scanning for relevant tokens before running the full calculation. So on one side, you have OpenAI panicking and releasing GPT 5.2 to stay relevant. On the other, you have the Chinese labs releasing open models that are making intelligence too cheap to meter. But software is nothing without the hardware to run it, and this is where the business intrigue gets really dark. For the longest time, Nvidia has been the king, but Google just fired a massive shot. Google's Gemini 3 was trained entirely on Google's own TPU chips. Zero Nvidia hardware involved. This terrified Nvidia because it proved you don't need them to build world-class AI. So what did Nvidia do? They pulled a massive power move. They just agreed to pay $20 billion to a startup called Groq, that's Groq, not Elon's Groq. Groq makes these special language processing units, LPUs, that are 10 times faster than GPUs for text generation. But here's the catch, all right? Nvidia isn't technically acquiring Groq. They are structuring it as a non-exclusive licensing agreement and hiring the founder Jonathan Ross and his team. It's a loophole. They want to dodge the regulators. They know the FTC would block an actual buyout, so they're buying the talent and the tech through a loophole to stop Google from running away with the hardware game. While Nvidia and Google are fighting over server farms, Apple is trying to rewrite physics in your pocket. Apple just unveiled the M5 chip. We're now talking about transistors so small that we're measuring them in atoms. We're down to the 20 nanometer scale. To put that into perspective, a single transistor from 1948 would be the size of the tallest building in the world compared to the components on this chip. We're reaching a point where Moore's law, the idea that chips get twice as fast every 2 years, is hitting the literal atomic level. We're printing computer brains onto atoms using light. It's getting harder and harder to comprehend just how much smaller we can go. Now you might be thinking, cool, faster chips and smarter bots. Who cares? Well, Porsche cares, and this is the cautionary tale of 2026. Porsche, a brand synonymous with profit and stability, just reported that their operating profit fell from 4 billion euros to 40 million euros. That's a 99% collapse. Why? Because the world changed faster than they did. Their sales in China dropped 42% because Chinese consumers stopped caring about the German badge and started caring about tech. They are buying cars like the Xiaomi SU7, which is advanced software and better integration for a fraction of the price. Porsche tried to transition to electric with the Taycan, but deliveries fell 49% as the market fluctuated. They are stuck in a death spiral where they need sales to fund new tech, but they don't have the tech to get the sales. It's a big warning. Heritage doesn't matter anymore. If you fall behind on the intelligence curve, you crash. So where does that leave us? We are in a world where AI can now generate playable video game worlds from a single image in real time. We're in a world where AI slop, fake videos, generated scripts are flooding our feeds, and people are falling for it. We are seeing a massive shift in lateral productivity. You don't need to be a mechanic to fix your car anymore. You just ask AI to diagnose the problem. The scary part isn't that AI is taking over, it's that the gap between the companies that adapt, like the Chinese EV makers or DeepSeek, and the ones that don't, like Porsche, is widening into a canyon. 2026 is going to be the year where we find out if the intelligence bubble bursts or if it just eats everything else. If you want to keep up with this madness without losing your mind, make sure you're subscribed, like and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.